The city of Kalor never slept. The alien marketplace buzzed with strange lights and louder voices than any human city. Ships landed and took off in the distance, and the air smelled of burning oils mixed with alien spices. People of many species walked with speed, carrying goods, arguing about prices, or shouting orders, but in one corner of that busy street, under the flickering shadow of a broken light, sat an old alien lady, her skin pale and cracked, her clothes torn and her eyes empty. She did not beg, she did not speak. She only sat quietly, almost invisible to everyone around her. Merchants laughed as they passed by. Guards pushed her with their boots when she blocked their way. Children of other species pointed at her and mocked her thin arms and strange bones. To them, she was just trash on the street. Yet no one knew her story, no one cared. The crowd moved like a river, flowing around her without stopping. Among that restless crowd walked a human teen named Daniel. He was only 16, fresh from Earth. His father had brought him to Kalor to work in a small repair shop. Daniel was not used to this kind of world. Every sound felt too loud, every alien face too strange, but he tried to keep calm. He tried to look like he belonged, as he carried a small bag of tools for his father. Daniel noticed the old alien lady. For a moment he slowed down. His eyes stuck on her. There was something different about her. Not just her broken clothes, not just her tired face, something deeper, something heavy in the way she sat still while the whole world ignored her. He stopped. The crowd behind him groaned. An alien shouted at him to move, but Daniel did not move. He looked closer. The alien lady's hand shook as she tried to lift a small cup made from old metal, but she was too weak. The cup slipped and rolled into the street. People stepped on it without care. Crushing it into the dirt, Daniel bent down and picked it up. He brushed off the dust and he walked to her. "Here, you dropped this," he said softly, his voice gentle. The old alien lady raised her head slowly, her eyes cloudy but sharp. She looked at him as if she had been waiting for someone. Her lips trembled, but no sound came. Daniel pulled out a small bottle of water from his bag. He held it out. "Do you need this?" he asked from the other side of the street. Two merchants noticed and laughed. "The human boy helps the cursed one." One shouted, his voice full of mockery. "He doesn't know who she is." A guard looked over, his eyes narrowing. But he did not come closer yet. Daniel ignored them. He knelt beside her and carefully poured water into the dented cup. He held it steady so she could drink. She raised the cup with both shaking hands and sipped slowly. For a moment the world seemed to stop. The buzzing lights dimmed, and the noise of the market felt far away. As the water touched her lips, a faint glow passed across her skin. Too soft for the crowd to notice, but Daniel saw it, his eyes widened. The old alien whispered something in a voice like dry wind. "Thank you, human." Daniel felt chills. Her words were heavy, not just thanks. Something else was hidden inside them. The guard finally stepped forward, his hand on his weapon. "Boy, get away from her," he barked. "She is not to be touched." Daniel looked up, confused. "Why?" "She's just thirsty." The guard spat on the ground. "She is nothing, a forgotten one, a danger. Walk away if you value your life." The merchants gathered closer now, whispering, pointing, their eyes full of fear and excitement. Daniel's heart pounded, but he did not move. He looked at the old alien lady again, her hand still shaking, her eyes now glowing faintly, like dying stars trying to shine once more. She reached out with her frail hand and touched Daniel's wrist. Her touch was cold but steady. The glow spread where her skin met his, marking him with a strange light. Gasps rose from the crowd. Someone shouted, "The mark!" The mark appears again. Daniel pulled his hand back quickly, staring at the strange pattern glowing on his skin. It faded after a second, but left a deep sense of unease. What is this?" he whispered. The old alien's voice broke through the noise, clearer now. "You see me, human, and now you are part of what they fear." Daniel's mouth went dry. The crowd pressed closer. The guard looked ready to strike. The merchants shouted louder, but all Daniel could think was, who was this old alien lady? And why did helping her feel like stepping into a storm? The night grew darker. The broken light above flickered again. And deep in the shadows, other figures began to watch, unseen by the crowd, their eyes fixed on the human teen who dared to help the one no one else would touch. Daniel did not know it yet, but his small act of kindness had opened a door that could not be closed again. The marketplace did not calm after that moment. It grew louder, whispers turning into shouts. Aliens of all shapes leaned closer, some with fear, some with anger, and some with greed. They all stared at the boy and the old alien lady as if a curse had been unleashed. Daniel stood frozen, his heart beating like a drum in his chest. The mark on his skin had faded, but the memory of its glow still burned in his mind. He wanted to ask more, to understand, but the guard's voice cut through the noise. Harsh and full of warning. "Step away, boy. You do not know what you are touching," the guard growled, his hand on the weapon at his side. But Daniel's gaze stayed fixed on the old alien woman, her fragile frame trembling, her lips cracked, yet her eyes locked on his with surprising strength. She whispered again, "Please, do not leave me." The words pierced Daniel's chest. He had heard many things in his young life, but never had words sounded so desperate, so heavy and yet so alive. He swallowed hard, and against every warning around him, he placed a hand under her arm to help her stand. The crowd gasped, the merchants hissed. One spat in disgust. "He dares to lift her! He will bring ruin on us all." Daniel helped her carefully, feeling how light she was, her bones thin as if she had not eaten in weeks. He opened his bag and pulled out a piece of bread he had saved for later. Without thinking, he placed it in her hands. The old alien looked at it with wide eyes, then back at him, as if she had forgotten what kindness felt like. Slowly, she brought it to her mouth, taking small bites, each one trembling, each one watched by the crowd as though a forbidden act had just happened. Something stirred in the air, a strange pressure, a weight that made Daniel's skin prickle. He looked around, noticing the silence that had replaced the noise. Silence heavy enough to choke. From somewhere behind the crowd, a low voice spoke. "So, she is still alive." The people parted. Soldiers in black armor stepped forward, their movements sharp, their weapons glowing with alien energy. Their leader, tall and scarred, pointed at Daniel and the old woman. "Remove the human, seize the forgotten one." Daniel's grip tightened around her arm. "She's not forgotten," he said without thinking, his voice shaking but strong enough to be heard. The soldiers paused, surprised by his boldness. One sneered, "Child, you stand in matters too great for you. She is not what she seems." Daniel looked down at her again. She met his gaze, her eyes faintly glowing now, and for the first time she spoke louder. Her voice cracked but firm. "Do not fear, young one. Your kindness has given me strength." The glow on her skin spread again, brighter this time. Her frail body straightened a little. The trembling lessened. The crowd backed away quickly, whispers rising like a wave. The glow. It returns after all these years. The soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Their leader growled, "Contain it now, before it awakens further." Daniel's mind raced. He did not understand what was happening, but every instinct told him walking away was no longer possible. He looked at the soldiers, then back at her. He asked quickly, "Who are you? Why do they fear you?" Her lips trembled. Then she leaned close and whispered words that chilled him. "I am not just an old woman. I am the last elder of my kind. They erased us, they buried our name, and now they fear it will rise again." Daniel blinked, shock hitting him like lightning. He wanted to ask more, but the soldiers stepped closer, weapons ready. The old alien lifted her weak hand and pressed it against Daniel's chest. The glow from her skin flowed into him, warm yet heavy. He gasped. The crowd gasped with him. "What are you doing?" he asked, breathless. "Sharing a piece of what remains," she whispered. "You gave me kindness, so I give you strength, and with it, fate will choose." Daniel staggered back. His vision blurred. Strange shapes danced before his eyes. Whispers of voices he did not understand echoed in his ears, and then, just as suddenly, it was gone, leaving him standing tall, his heart racing faster than ever. The soldiers raised their weapons. The leader shouted, "Enough! Take them both!" Before they could move, Daniel felt his legs respond faster than thought. He pulled the old alien woman with him and ran, weaving through the stunned crowd. "Stop them!" the soldiers barked. But Daniel's speed was unlike before. His body felt lighter, sharper, the glow inside him guiding his steps. The crowd scattered as he pushed through. Holding her close, behind him the soldiers gave chase, their armored feet thundering against the street. Daniel's lungs burned, but he did not stop. The old alien clung to him, whispering words he barely understood, words of stars, of blood, of a promise broken long ago. He didn't know where he was going, only that he could not stop now, not after what he had seen, not after what he had felt. And as he turned a corner into a darker street, one thought rang louder than the noise of his heart. He had shown kindness to a stranger, and in return, he had stepped into a story far greater than himself. Daniel's legs ached as he ran, the old alien lady leaning against him for support, her body weak but her eyes glowing faintly in the dark streets. The noise of the crowd faded behind them. But the shouts of the soldiers still echoed, boots pounding on metal roads, weapons humming with deadly energy. They turned into a narrow alley lit only by broken neon signs. Daniel pressed against the wall, gasping for breath, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might burst. The old woman looked at him, her cracked lips forming a weak smile. "You are faster now," she whispered. "The gift has touched you." Daniel frowned, sweat dripping from his forehead. "Gift? What are you talking about? Why did my skin glow when you touched me?" She lifted his wrist, the same spot where her fingers had pressed earlier. In the dim light he saw it again, faint lines glowing on his skin like strange letters written in fire. They pulsed slowly as if alive. His stomach tightened. "What is this mark?" he asked, voice trembling. The old alien's eyes softened. "It is the mark of the elders, once given only to those who protected the galaxy. It has chosen you." Daniel shook his head quickly, fear growing inside him. No, I'm just a kid. I don't want this. I only wanted to help you drink water." Her hand squeezed his wrist gently. "Kindness is the key. Only one with a heart uncorrupted can carry the mark. That is why it chose you." Before Daniel could reply, a sharp noise cut through the alley. Energy blasts struck the wall beside them, sparks flying. The soldiers had found them. "Run!" Daniel shouted, pulling her along, but she stopped suddenly, her frail body standing straighter than before, her glowing eyes locked on the shadows of the approaching soldiers. "No," she whispered, "if we run now, they will never stop. You must understand what they fear." Daniel stared at her. "What do they fear?" The soldiers stepped closer, their weapons raised. The leader shouted, "Human! Release her at once. That mark is not yours to carry." Daniel froze, his heart racing, the leader's words echoed in his ears. "Not yours to carry. How did they know about the mark? Why did they care?" The old woman's voice rose above the shouts, stronger than before. "They fear the truth of who I am," she said, her voice steady. "They fear the return of the elders." The soldiers hesitated, their faces pale beneath their helmets. One muttered, "She dares to speak the forbidden name." Daniel's mind swirled. "Elders? What does that mean?" She looked at him, her eyes glowing brighter now. "Long ago my kind ruled not with armies, but with wisdom and light we were the guardians. But greed and fear destroyed us. Now I am the last, hidden in shadows, waiting for the one who would help me rise again." Daniel stepped back, his body shaking. "Why me?" he asked. "Why not someone stronger, someone smarter?" Her voice softened. "Because you stopped when no one else did. Because you gave me water. Because kindness is greater than strength." The soldiers moved forward again, their leader raising his weapon. "Enough of this. End her before the mark awakens fully." Daniel's body reacted before his mind could. He stepped in front of her, his arms spread wide. "No," he shouted, his voice echoing through the alley. The soldiers fired, but something strange happened. The glowing lines on Daniel's skin pulsed bright, forming a shield of light that blocked the blasts. Sparks danced in the air. The crowd that had followed gasped in shock. Daniel stared at his own arms, trembling. What did I just do?" The old alien's weak smile widened. "The mark protects the one it chooses. You are more than you believe." The soldiers stepped back, fear spreading among them, whispers rising. "It cannot be." "The mark lives again." Daniel looked at their faces, then at his glowing skin, his heart heavy with fear and confusion. He whispered, "I don't want this. I didn't ask for this." The old woman touched his shoulder gently. "Destiny is not asked, it is given." The soldiers regrouped, their leader furious. "If the mark has returned, then the boy must be destroyed before it awakens further," he barked, raising his blade. Daniel felt his knees weaken, but he stood firm. Holding the old woman close, inside him something stirred. Not just fear, but courage, small but growing. The alley filled with light again as the mark pulsed brighter. The soldiers hesitated, none willing to step closer. For a moment silence fell, broken only by the old woman's voice, soft but clear. "Do you see now, human? This is why they feared me, not because I am weak, but because I still carry what they tried to erase." Daniel looked at her glowing eyes, then at the soldiers frozen in fear, and he realized one truth. Helping her had not been a small act of kindness. It had been the spark to light a fire the galaxy thought was long dead, and now, with the mark burning on his skin, he was part of it, whether he wanted to be or not. The night in Kalor City grew heavier. Neon lights flickered against the damp walls. The air carried whispers of fear, and in the narrow alley, Daniel stood with the old alien woman at his side, his arm glowing faintly where the strange mark had appeared. The soldiers did not move, their weapons still raised, But their eyes betrayed hesitation. They had seen something impossible. The boy had blocked their energy blasts with nothing but the mark, a power long believed gone. Daniel's heart raced, his hands shaking, his breath uneven. He tried to understand what was happening, but the old alien woman spoke first, her voice soft yet firm. You cannot stop it, the mark is chosen. And it will awaken. The soldier leader's jaw clenched. He barked orders, surround them. Do not let them escape again. Armored boots echoed against metal ground as the soldiers closed in, shadows stretching over the alley. Daniel's pulse hammered. He wanted to run, but something inside him told him running would not work this time. The old woman squeezed his arm gently. Do not fear, young one. The power will answer if you trust it. Daniel shook his head quickly, whispering, I don't even know what this power is. I don't even know you. Her glowing eyes met his. You will learn, but first you must survive. The soldiers stepped closer, their weapons humming with sharp light. The crowd watching from a distance whispered in fear. The Forgotten One has returned. With a human, the leader pointed his blade at Daniel, his voice sharp. Human boy, this is not your fight. Release her and you may yet live. Daniel clenched his fists, his throat dry, but his voice found strength. She is not nothing, she is not forgotten, and I will not leave her. Gasps rose from the crowd, the old woman's lips trembled, and for the first time in years she felt warmth in her chest. Someone had spoken for her, someone who would not look away. The leader snarled, then you choose death. He swung his blade forward, glowing with energy. Daniel's body moved before his mind did. The mark on his skin pulsed bright and a wave of light shot out, knocking the soldier backward into the wall. Sparks flew. The ground cracked beneath the force. The soldiers froze. Fear spreading among them, one whispered, the power of the elders. It's real. Daniel looked at his own hands in shock, his chest rising and falling fast. He had not meant to do it, but the power had answered. The old alien's voice was steady now, stronger than before. The mark awakens because danger calls it. You see now why they fear me, why they hunted me. The galaxy is not ready for this truth. The leader rose slowly, his armor dented, his eyes full of rage. You cannot protect him forever. Old One, the council will know. They will send more. Stronger than us. At his words, Daniel felt a chill. Council? He asked, looking at the old woman. Who are they? Her eyes darkened. They are the ones who erased us. The ones who ruled with fear after we were gone. If they learn the mark has returned, they will burn worlds to stop it, the crowd gasped again. Panic spreading. Merchants pulled their stalls away. Families grabbed their children. The name of the council carried weight heavier than metal. Daniel's chest tightened. The threat was bigger than he imagined. It was not just soldiers chasing them in the street. It was something larger, something across the stars. The old woman leaned on him, her strength fading again. We must move. Now? Daniel nodded quickly, pulling her away as the soldiers regrouped. Energy blasts cut through the air, striking walls and sending debris flying. But the mark glowed once more, guiding his steps, protecting their path. They ran deeper into the city's underbelly, where lights flickered and the smell of rust filled the air, the shouts of soldiers chasing them. The city itself seemed alive with noise. At last they reached a quieter place, an abandoned station, the air thick with dust. Daniel helped her sit against a broken pillar, his body trembling with exhaustion. He looked at her seriously. Tell me the truth, who are you really? And why me? Her breathing was shallow, but her eyes still glowed faintly. I am Elder Serath, last of the Guardians of Light. My people once guided stars and shaped peace, but we were betrayed, destroyed, and erased from memory. Daniel's lips parted in disbelief. And me? Why did it choose me? Her frail hand touched his again, the mark glowing softly. Because you are human, and humans were never part of their lies. You are outside their chains. Your kindness unlocked what no alien heart could. Daniel swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing down on him. He was only 16, yet now he carried a power greater than anything he understood, a power the council would kill to stop. From outside the station came the sound of ships landing, heavy engines shaking the walls. More soldiers had arrived. The old woman's eyes closed briefly, then opened again. The threat awakens. Daniel, you must decide now, will you run and hide? Or will you stand and learn what the mark truly means? Daniel looked at the entrance where shadows grew larger, soldiers approaching again, and though fear still gripped him, a new fire burned inside his chest. He had not chosen this, but now it had chosen him. and as the footsteps of the enemy drew closer, he whispered to himself, "I won't leave her, not now. Not ever." The abandoned station shook as ships landed outside, heavy engines humming like thunder. Daniel felt the ground tremble under his boots. Dust fell from the broken ceiling. The old alien woman, Elder Serath, leaned against the pillar, her breath shallow but her eyes still glowing faintly. Daniel's heart hammered in his chest. Fear and confusion tangled inside him. But he knew one thing for certain. He could not leave her, not after what he had seen, not after what he had felt. The footsteps of soldiers grew louder, sharp and steady, echoing against the empty metal halls. Their voices barked orders. "Seal the exits. The human and the elder must not escape." Daniel turned to Serath, his voice rushed. "They're coming. We can't stay here. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me what this mark really is." Serath's eyes softened as she studied him. Her frail hand reached out and touched his wrist again. The glowing lines of the mark flickered, alive as fireflies. "The mark is not a weapon. Daniel, it is a memory, a key. It carries the last echo of my people's power, and it chose you because your heart carried no greed." Daniel shook his head, frustration in his voice. "But I don't understand it. I don't know how to use it. I'm just a boy." Her cracked lips curved into a faint smile. "That is why it works, because you do not seek it. Only those who never desired power are meant to carry it." The doors to the station groaned, soldiers forcing their way inside. Daniel's stomach tightened. "Why are they so afraid of you? Why erase your people if you were guardians of light?" Her voice dropped low, carrying weight like stone. "Because we stood against them, against the council. They wanted control. We wanted balance, and so they painted us as monsters, erased our name and hunted us across the stars, until only I remained." Daniel's breath caught, the truth slamming into him. "So they're afraid the truth will come out. That you're still alive?" Serath nodded slowly, her eyes glowing brighter. "And now that the mark burns on your skin, they fear even more. For humans were never part of their plans. You are a thread they cannot control." The station doors burst open, light flooding the hall as armored soldiers stormed in. Their leader's voice thundered, "Surrender, the elder and the human will be spared. Resist and you both die." Daniel stepped in front of Serath, fists clenched though his knees shook. "You'll have to go through me first." The soldiers laughed cruelly. "You think a child can stand against us?" But then the glow of the mark pulsed stronger than before, bright veins of light crawling up Daniel's arm and across his chest. The laughter died, replaced by fear. One soldier whispered, "The awakening has begun." Daniel's body felt hot, like energy was flowing through his veins. He raised his hand instinctively. A wall of shimmering light formed between them and the soldiers. The air crackled, sparks flying. The soldiers stumbled back in shock. Serath's voice was calm behind him. "Do you see now? It does not destroy. It protects, it carries the will of those who came before." Daniel stared at the glowing wall, his breath shaky. I didn't even try, it just happened." Serath's gaze turned sharp. "That is the revelation, Daniel. The power is not learned, it is remembered, and the mark remembers through you." The soldiers regrouped. Their leader furious, he raised his blade high. "Even if the mark returns, the council will crush it again as they crushed you." Serath's eyes narrowed, her weak frame trembling as she pushed herself upright, her voice rising like a storm. "You cannot erase the truth forever, not while kindness exists, not while humans walk this galaxy." Her words echoed like thunder. Daniel felt the mark flare again, brighter. The soldiers hesitated, fear plain on their faces, but the leader pressed forward, snarling, "Then let us end this here." Before he could strike, Daniel's arm moved on its own. Light burst outward in a wave, sending the soldiers crashing against the walls, weapons clattering to the floor. Silence followed, heavy and thick. Daniel staggered, breathing hard, his body trembling with the weight of what he had done. I don't know how much more of this I can handle," he muttered. Serath leaned on him, her voice gentler now. "You are stronger than you think. But strength alone will not save us. We must reach the temple. Only there will you understand the full truth." Daniel looked at her in confusion. "Temple? What temple?" Her eyes glowed faintly. "The last sanctuary of the elders, hidden deep within the city. If we reach it, you will see why the mark chose you." Outside the station, more engines roared, heavier than before. The soldiers had called reinforcements. Daniel felt the ground tremble again. He tightened his grip on Serath's arm, his jaw set. "Then we go now, before they bring the whole city down on us." Together they slipped into the shadows, leaving the broken station behind, the mark still glowing on Daniel's skin. And for the first time he realized the truth. Helping her had not only changed her fate, it had tied him to a secret that could shake the galaxy itself. And somewhere deep in the city, the temple waited, carrying answers that would either save them or destroy everything he thought he knew. The streets of Kalor twisted like a maze, narrow alleys glowing with broken neon lights, stairways leading into shadows and bridges hanging over deep canals. Daniel pulled Elder Sarath close as they hurried through the city's underbelly. Every sound behind them made his chest tighten. Above, ships cut across the sky, their searchlights sweeping the rooftops. The council soldiers had spread out. Their voices echoed across the metal walls. Find them. The human carries the mark. Bring him in alive if possible, dead if not. Daniel's legs burned, his breath came fast, but he didn't stop. The glow of the mark guided him through the shadows, almost as if it knew the safest paths. Sarath leaned against him, her steps weak but her eyes still sharp. They are tightening their net, she whispered. They will not stop until the temple or your blood. Daniel clenched his teeth. Then we reach the temple before they reach us. A sudden blast cut through the wall beside them. Fire spraying, Daniel ducked, dragging Sarath into a side tunnel. Soldiers appeared at the far end, armored and ready, weapons glowing with crackling energy. Go back. One of them shouted, You cannot escape the council. Daniel's chest tightened. Fear clawed at him, but the mark pulsed. Heat rushing through his veins, without thinking, he raised his arm. A shield of light flickered into existence. The energy blast slammed against it, sparks exploding, but the shield held. Sarath's voice was calm despite the chaos. Do not fight to kill, Daniel, fight to move forward. He nodded quickly, then pushed against the shield, light bursting outward like a wave. The soldiers stumbled back, giving them a gap. Daniel grabbed Sarath's hand and sprinted, their footsteps echoing into the deeper tunnels. The city's lower levels grew darker, filled with dripping water and the smell of rust. Here the neon lights could not reach. Only the faint glow of the mark lit their way. But danger was never far. At every turn, shadows moved. Soldiers appearing again, their numbers growing. Daniel's chest pounded. They're everywhere, he muttered. Sarath's weak voice answered. The closer we get to the temple, the more desperate they become. They know what waits there. Daniel didn't ask further. His lungs already burning. Suddenly the tunnel opened into a wide cavern-like hall. Broken machines scattered across the ground. Old signs written in alien language glowed faintly on the walls. This way. Sarath pointed to a staircase leading down. Her voice urgent, but before they could reach it, heavy boots thundered from above. Soldiers rappelled down ropes, their weapons drawn, more marched from behind. Daniel froze in the middle of the hall, surrounded. The leader stepped forward, his scarred face twisted with anger. It ends here, boy. Hand her over and I may let you live. Daniel's chest heaved, his fists clenched. Fear gnawed at him, but he shook his head. No, I won't leave her, not now. The soldiers raised their weapons in unison, light crackling at their tips. Daniel braced himself, the mark flaring brighter. But Sarath suddenly stepped in front of him, her frail body glowing faintly, her voice carried power, echoing against the walls. Do you fools not see? Every time you strike, the mark awakens further. You are feeding the very thing you fear. The soldiers hesitated, their eyes flicking to the glow around her. But the leader snarled, Then we will snuff it out before it grows. He gave the order and blasts of energy filled the air. Daniel raised his arm, the shield burst into existence. Brighter than before, the blasts struck it, shaking his bones, but he pushed forward, step by step, each movement harder than the last. Sweat poured down his face, his muscles screamed, but Sarath's voice guided him. Forward, Daniel, always forward. The temple is near. With a final shout, Daniel released the built-up force. A shockwave of light exploded outward, throwing soldiers into the walls, their weapons flying from their hands. Silence followed for a moment, the air buzzing with energy. Daniel fell to one knee, gasping, his body trembling. Sarath bent beside him, her weak hand on his shoulder. You did well, young one, but you must not burn yourself too quickly. The mark protects, but it also consumes. Daniel lifted his head, his eyes wide. Consumes. What does that mean? She did not answer, her face hidden in shadow. Instead, she whispered, We must go, the temple waits just beyond this level. He forced himself to stand, his legs heavy but determination burning in his chest. He pulled her toward the staircase, stepping carefully over the fallen soldiers. As they descended, the sounds of the city grew distant, replaced by a strange hum like a heartbeat buried in stone. The mark on Daniel's skin pulsed in rhythm with it. Stronger guiding him, Serath's eyes glowed faintly, her voice soft. Yes, it calls to you now. The temple knows you are coming. Daniel swallowed hard, his throat dry. And when we get there? What happens? Her lips curved into a sad smile. Then, young one, you will learn the truth of why fate tied you to me, and why the galaxy fears what we carry. Behind them, the sounds of ships and soldiers did not fade. The chase was not over. It was only growing, but ahead, through the shadows, the temple waited, ancient and alive, and Daniel knew that whatever revelation lay inside would change not only his life, but perhaps the fate of every world in the stars. The staircase seemed endless, winding down into the earth beneath Kalor City. The walls glowed faintly with strange symbols that lit up as Daniel passed. The mark on his arm pulsed in rhythm with them. As if recognizing an old friend, Elder Serath leaned against him. Her steps slow, but her eyes brighter than before. The temple feels your presence, she whispered. It awakens for you. Daniel's throat was dry, sweat running down his face, his heart pounding not only from exhaustion but from fear. Why me? I don't understand any of this. I didn't ask for it. Serath's voice was calm, her tone like wind over stone. Destiny is never asked, Daniel. It is given. At the bottom of the staircase they entered a vast chamber, larger than any hall Daniel had seen. Towering pillars stretched into the shadows above. The walls shimmered with carvings of stars, ships, and figures holding light in their hands. The air hummed like a song without sound. In the center of the chamber stood an altar of stone, cracked with age yet glowing faintly. Daniel felt his body pull toward it, as though the mark was guiding his every step. Serath stopped and placed her hand on his shoulder. This is where the truth lives, the heart of the Elder's last sanctuary. What you see here will change you forever. Daniel hesitated, his chest tight. I'm not ready, her weak smile answered. No one ever is. Slowly Daniel walked to the altar. His hand trembling, the mark glowed brighter than ever. The carvings on the wall shifted, their light flowing toward him, wrapping him in warmth and weight. The chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling, and then a vision burst before his eyes. He stood not in the temple but among stars, countless worlds spinning around him, and before him were tall alien figures with glowing eyes and robes of light. The elders. They looked down at him with faces filled with both sorrow and hope. One spoke, his voice like thunder and whisper at once. You carry what was lost, human. The mark of the Guardians, long sealed. Now alive again, Daniel staggered. I don't understand, I'm not like you. I'm just a boy from Earth, another elder's voice answered. That is why you were chosen. Humanity is untouched by the Council's lies. Your heart carried no hunger for power, only kindness. Images flashed before him, elders guiding worlds, bringing peace between warring species. Then the Council rising, twisting truth into fear, destroying the elders with fire and chains. The vision shook him to his core, he gasped. They destroyed you because you stood against them. The first elder nodded. And now you hold what they fear most. The truth that cannot be erased. The power that cannot be chained. The vision faded. The temple walls returned. Daniel stumbled back, his breath ragged, his knees weak. Serath's frail body stood near the altar, her eyes glowing bright as stars. Now you see, Daniel? Why they hunt us, why they fear the mark, because it is not mine anymore. It is yours. Daniel's chest tightened. But I can't. I can't fight armies, I can't face the Council. I'm just one person. Her voice was gentle. You are not alone. The mark is a seed, and with it you will grow. Humans are stronger than they believe, and with this power, you will awaken others. Before Daniel could reply, the chamber doors exploded open. Soldiers stormed in, their weapons blazing with energy. The leader snarled, You will not escape this time. Daniel turned, fear burning, but the mark surged through him brighter than ever. His body felt lighter, stronger. The glow spread across his chest and face, forming patterns like ancient armor. The soldiers opened fire, but light flowed from his hands, forming a dome that swallowed the blasts. The chamber shook with the force. The crowd outside gasped. Serath's voice rose above the chaos, strong and clear. Do you see now, Daniel? This is your true destiny, not to destroy, but to protect. Not to rule, but to free. Daniel felt the power pulse, his fear melting into something else, resolve. With a shout, he thrust his arms forward. Waves of light rippled across the chamber, disarming soldiers, breaking their weapons apart without killing them. The soldiers collapsed, stunned and terrified. The leader dropped his blade, staring at Daniel with wide eyes. What? What are you? Daniel's breath was heavy, his body shaking, but his voice was steady. I'm human, and I won't let you erase the truth anymore. Silence filled the chamber. The soldiers too afraid to move. Serath's glowing eyes softened as she looked at him, pride and sadness mixing in her gaze. You are ready, she whispered. Ready to carry what my people could not. The galaxy will learn the truth through you. Daniel swallowed hard. His heart pounding, he looked at her. And you? What about you? Her voice trembled. My time is ending. But yours has only begun. The chamber hummed louder, the mark pulsed. And Daniel realized the truth. His small act of kindness on a lonely street had brought him here. And now the weight of galaxies rested on his shoulders. And yet deep inside he felt no regret. For he knew he could not have walked away that night. Not from her, not from the truth. The temple doors closed slowly, sealing away the fallen soldiers, leaving Daniel and Serath in the light of the altar, the mark glowing like a rising sun. The chase was over, but the true journey had only begun.